Sometimes, the greatest stories write themselves.
Look, the U.S. has been chasing a Street Fighter 4 / Street Fighter 5 championship for quite some time, but you know who else has been chasing that? This one man right here. We're actually at a point right now where the American could be the favorite here. More EVO top 8s probably than any other player in the history of EVO. There are so many powerful names that didn't make it this far. And this is the one player he probably did not want to make it back out of loser's bracket. This is it. This is the biggest match of his life. The onus is on Punk to really close this out. This is where the mental fortitude comes into play. It's all slipping away from him.
Heading into EVO 2017, Hajime Tokido Taniguchi, a fighting game legend, was entering year 10 of an EVO first place drought. He had 21 top 8 finishes, including 2 titles in Capcom vs SNK 2 and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But EVO's headlining Street Fighter crown had always managed to escape his grasp. Tokido was a dominant, innovative master of fighting games, with dozens of tournament wins across multiple titles. This was most visibly on display at CEO 2011, when he made history by placing first in Street Fighter 4, Marvel vs Capcom 3, and BlazBlue, and placed third in Tekken 6. However, despite his tremendous achievements, 2 second-place finishes in 2007 and 2013 were the closest he ever came to claiming the most prestigious title in fighting games, the EVO Street Fighter main event. Going into EVO 2017's Street Fighter V tournament, Tokido had an incredibly hard road to make it to top 8, including a showdown with the man everyone had pegged as the favorite to win it all, Victor Punk Woodley, a young, rising superstar from the United States with an incredible tournament record. Punk had won or placed second at nearly every major tournament leading up to EVO. He was a wunderkind with a hyper-aggressive playstyle, a goofy, over-the-top personality,
it's just another day,
and an uncanny ability to get in his opponent's heads.
Goes. We've seen this one before, although Samurai not willing. Oh my god!
Punk is probably the best player in the world. That's my thought. I would be very surprised if he was not in top 8.
Everyone was sure that Punk was going to win EVO. Not could, would. Punk looked certain to be North America's first Street Fighter EVO champion in years, and it seemed like Tokido was the only person left who could stop him. While Tokido's 2017 had been shaky, heading into EVO, stories emerged that he had begun to regain his form.
Have to be quick decisions. Only has 21 seconds now left, however. He's got to make something happen immediately.
God, but he's not taking a throw bait at all.
Oh, and the train.
You know what? I heard a lot of stories about how he's been performing this week in the casuals. Some of your #1 guys here have had a really hard time against Tokido, so he could be a real problem this EVO.
The two clashed in top 32. The winner would go to top 8, while the loser would have to fight their way back through the loser's bracket, with only one more chance before heading home.
More than 25 in a lot of scenarios, but Punk will actually close out this round with a huge crush counter. 25 not going to be an issue there. So immaculate, the hit, he's got him. There it is.
With the EX command dash and gets in there for the throw, he knows that Tokido is blocking a lot, so that's why he's shifting to the throw.
The V reversal again, Punk in trouble still. There's so much offense from Tokido.
Oh, he got under. That's it. He should be able to confirm into the critical art. And there it is. Punk is going to take it over Tokido and advance over onto the winner's side. Top 8.
Punk moved on, and Tokido, defeated, was relegated to losers. But he'd been there before. Tokido is one of Japan's 5 fighting game gods, and at the beginning of his journey, he did it all with a look of cold, emotionless disdain, earning him the nickname Murderface. However, as the years wore on, he wanted to become a player that was more fun to watch. He became known for his trash talk.
If he used Liu, I body him.
His oppressive play.
Look at this corner.
Oh, he's got the hit. He's got the stun. He's got a full meter. Is this going to be enough to kill?
He can't kill. Maybe you can kill?
And his over-the-top displays of dominance.
Sorry, match. That's it.
Tokido gets up and walks off and poses.
But without an EVO win in a decade, his legacy seemed incomplete. He had dedicated years of his life to being the best, years of his life to the fighting game community, to being someone that people would remember. He just needed another chance to make it all count. In the losers bracket, Tokido came up against fellow Japanese fighting game god, Haitani.
It's terrifying that these two have to fight each other to get into top 8.
Their match came down to the very last round, but a huge dropped combo from Haitani gave Tokido the chance to take his place in top 8.
Tokido with a big lead, a lot of gray, but this is an opportunity.
Oh no, it missed! It missed! Oh my god, how much meter is he gonna spend? None of it!
Anything will do it now. Tokido with the pressure, the red fireball. He baited the throw! It's enough to kill. Tokido's in top 8 of EVO, and Haitani gonna be sent home after all of that. He had such a doable path, and Tokido's so elated. Very rare you see that out of him, but you can see how much it means to him.
The next day, Tokido played Filipino champ, the best dulcim in the world.
Filipino champ right here, probably one of the greatest heels that we have in the community. You either love the guy or you're gonna hate the guy.
Champ took a 2-1 lead and reached match point with a wild series of mix-ups.
He's gonna get the stun and he's gonna take game number 3 and go up 2-1. Air fireball, very fortunate, but now you can see this very kinetic pace from Filipino champ. He is going crazy with these air teleports.
Big trouble now, though. Oh!
And now, 1 round away from eliminating Tokido.
But Tokido fought back.
A lot of corner carry on that combo, so Tokido went for it. Here he gets a knockdown, close to stun. What's the mix-up? He goes for the throw, but what a throw tech. But then the cross-up from Tokido does get the stun.
Could be enough to kill. It's gonna be. It is.
Tokido really having a trouble landing a target right now. Filipino champ, his kinetic style from last round really working right now. He's being such a difficult target to catch. Oh, the B, he parries it! He saw the B reversal coming out, so he got the parry off of it.
He's so close to stun. The throw, he's gonna get the game off this. Tokido, a massive comeback, a huge swing, and he stays alive.
It all came down to a final 5th game.
Defense from Filipino champ, and he teleports to the other side now. A lot of work for Tokido. Oh, good defense. Oh, he's gonna be able to punish that, but he doesn't.
He didn't make it in time. The air fireball and the trade works out. Gains in pressure. That's why Filipino champ with the V reverse there.
Do not want to be under Dawson's fireball when it's dropping on your head. Oh no! Again, he read that whiff jump medium punch, and he gets the throw on F champ.
So Filipino champ with a lot of resources. Doesn't survive to use them. He's gonna go into the last round though. Yeah, so scrambly. Champ running for his life here. He's in trouble. Tokido very close to V-trigger though. You know what that means. The Raging Demon. He's gotta confirm. He could spend it.
He's gonna uppercut into critical art. No, he saves it.
Fake the demon setup, and he got the meaty because of it. Tokido is gonna take it over Filipino champ.
Having narrowly escaped elimination, Tokido moved on to play Knuckle Dew, one of America's finest, and won again.
Answers to the demon flip. He's not sure what to do. Tokido capitalizing. He gets it. This could be the end, and it is. An overhead will send Knuckle Dew out of the tournament. Only one American is left now.
Next came Itabashi Zangief, the world's best Zangief player, known for wild, unpredictable play that tended to stump even experienced players like Tokido. The two traded games back and forth.
He's really looking like he's a man on a mission here.
Look at this aggression from Tokido staying. Oh, and he baits the regular throw out from Itabashi. This game so far has been all Itabashi this time.
What a lariat. He stayed patient. He tucked them in. It's going to be a game for Itabashi Zangief.
Good night.
Making people believe, and you can see why.
Oh, you are so crazy, Tokido.
Got V-trigger on deck. Activates it. The throw.
Oh! Even in Street Fighter 4, that. Oh no, that's probably dead.
It's enough to kill Itabashi. All the meter. Big opportunity for Itabashi here. Tokido's got to guess. There it is again.
Yeah, go for the regular throw because it has so much less whip.
Big stun, big round, big game. Itabashi ties things up 2 apiece.
But in the final round of their 5th game, Tokido came out on top with an unbelievable read.
Close enough.
He's a little far.
Oh
The
my
hit
God!
confirmed.
Tokido confirms into the critical art. It's not going to be enough to kill. He's just got a tiny bit left. It is not safe by any stretch of the imagination.
Look at the meter for Itabashi. He's so close to having it. If he gets a hit, it could be death.
And a light punch into V-Trigger will still connect. Oh my God, what are you doing, Tokido? You are a madman. Tokido knew that Itabashi was gonna go for a crazy Hail Mary with a level 1 vacuum, but level 1 is punishable. Tokido punished it successfully and he moves on.
Next came Kazunoko, but Tokido was ready for every trick he had.
Baits the throw, massive. Tokido in the corner of the red fireball for the advantage. Parries it.
Oh, you cannot be reversal me. Ooh.
Kazunoko's got to be careful. One hit confirmed from something. He got
Too
him.
high up again, but couldn't confirm off of that. He thought he was too far. Gets the walk-up throw. Oh boy, be careful of that parry. Oh, wait, there's the confirm into the dash-up uppercut. Guess who is going to grand finals? It is Tokido.
What a run from this guy. The only man to beat him all weekend is waiting in that grand finals of Evolution.
After blazing a trail of destruction through a gauntlet of Street Fighter V's best players, Tokido had finally earned another shot at Punk.
Look, the US has been chasing a Street Fighter 4 / Street Fighter 5 championship for quite some time, but you know who else has been chasing that? This one man right here.
Punk made it through the winner's bracket, having 3-0'd both Itazan and Kazunoko. He was poised to win it all and bring down Tokido yet again in the process. With the home crowd behind him, the rookie would defeat the veteran, writing his name in Street Fighter history. But Tokido was writing his own story.
He's trying to be evasive.
What a block from Tokido. Oh, he got him. He was ready. And the uppercut. I'm trying to get him. Oh no, ate it. He just ate the dive kick. And oh, beautiful side switch there from Tokido. There, he has the opportunity to go either direction. He said, oh, gonna be a stun.
Very close. He hit a button. He's so genius. The taunt. He did a taunt combo to Punk in grand finals of EVO. I've never seen him do anything like that.
Tokido now trying to take a weapon of Punk's into his own arsenal.
Finds a hit. Punk is for sure dead.
Oh, but he was hit out of the air. Punk landed into it. He's going to try to be reversal to save himself. Now Chip becomes a concern if he can get another, like, 2 small hits on Tokido. Tokido has his MV trigger. Oh, here he comes. What the mix-up? What a throw tech. Only 16 seconds, but he walks into the fireball. We have a reset here in Grand Finals. Tokido has sent Punk to the loser's bracket, essentially.
The second set wasn't much better for Punk.
This is huge. Tokido, the momentum is massive. The tech is looking miserable here for Punk.
Punk
He's in so much trouble.
This is where the mental fortitude comes into play.
Tenko as well.
And again, he's just been walking into those standing medium kicks. Here's the setup. It works. He gets it from the other side. And it's going to be an uppercut. So now the next mix-up could be death or stun. He goes
flip.
for the throw.
I've never seen him look like this. He's just not prepared. He's unsettled by Tokido. The nerves are getting to him. The stakes here at Evolution. The confirm again. The back throw. He is marching all over him. Tokido, if this game is his, it'll be an amazing positioning.
Gotta activate that V-trigger to keep that safe. Oh, he used the medium kick. He used the medium kick. And we are going to get a demon finish here for Tokido. He's up 2-0 over Punk. It's all slipping away from him.
Punk had lost before, but never in front of a crowd like this. Never in front of thousands of people. And never on Street Fighter's most prestigious stage. But Tokido destroyed him.
Counter hit confirmed. Tokido, he's gonna have the setup here. Left or right, you gotta guess.
Oh my God. Big damn, oh my, is that enough?
He's dead. Tokido gets another round. He's leaving now to take this match. He's got V-trigger. If he finds a hit, he'll kill. He jumped onto it.
Oh,
he baited the throw.
That's it. That's it. Tokido is the Evolution 2017 champion, coming all the way from loser's bracket. He's done it. He has won Evolution finally. He's been chasing it for so long, and there it is!
Tokido stood victorious, and to cap it all off, he struck Akuma's signature Raging Demon pose.
The pose on the Evolution stage, your champion, Tokido.
Tokido didn't need to hit Punk with a Raging Demon when he was pixels away from death, but he did it anyway.
Demon finish here for Tokido! He's up 2-0!
He beat Punk in the flashiest way possible, getting the crowd on his side and crushing Punk's spirit. But he didn't do it for that purpose. Tokido did it all for the crowd. He didn't end with trash talk. He closed out EVO with a message of love for the fighting game community.
You know, you came all the way from Japan. Is there anybody at home, or is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
Yes. Just one thing I want to say. Fighting game is something so great.
Tokido worked for decades to earn that EVO win. He played dozens of games, beat hundreds of the best players on Earth, all to stand at the peak once again. But that trophy meant more than a win over Punk. It meant more than experience and craft trumping raw skill. Tokido stood at the top of a community of people, every last one of them out to become better.
I can tell you right now, everybody probably felt the same way. If there was going to be a Japanese player who was going to stop that run, they would have wanted it to be Tokido.
In the end, esports aren't always about one team or player being better than another. Those teams and players come and go. Glory fades. But what keeps these games going, what gets you to play, what makes these moments so special is the community that's behind them. It's the community that shapes, makes, and appreciates these perfect moments for what they are. Something so great.
Damn it, why did he have to say that?
Why I don't. Thanks for watching. If you want more great content just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.